So it was just a few years ago that I was sitting in the back of my college classes, really having no idea what the hell I wanted to do with my life, looking for ways to make money, thinking about entrepreneurship and what I was going to do after college. And what I ultimately ended up finding that really changed the course of my life was Amazon FBA. So today I want to tell the story about how I got to my first $1 million in sales on Amazon. And I still haven't quite figured out what I'm doing with my life, but I did figure that out. So that's what we're talking about today. So if you stick with me through today's video, I want to talk about not just getting started on Amazon, but really that scale up period, how to get to your $1 million in sales, how I did it so that you can do the same, because that is when things really start to happen. If that's something that you're hoping to recreate for yourself, which you probably are, there's good reasons to do that, then definitely watch through this video. And also, if you can please smash the like button and leave comments to feed the algorithm, that can really help the YouTube algorithm and potentially push this video out to new viewers. So I'd really appreciate that. So if you've been watching my channel for a while, then you'll probably know that I actually hit my first million a few years ago. This was in 2016 when I got to $1 million in sales on Amazon for the first time. So that's the story that I'm telling today. A lot of it is still extremely relevant, and I'll even tell it in a way that, you know, how it applies still today, what is still relevant today, and how you can still do it now. And if you are new to this channel, well, now you know that that's the case, and you can check out all of my older videos for tons of proof and stories and everything you need to know. So I got started on Amazon literally from the back of a college classroom. I was not paying attention. I was refreshing Amazon. I was digging in, doing all that. I'd been reselling stuff online, mainly on eBay, for a few years leading up to wanting to transition into Amazon. And I wanted to shift because what I was doing on eBay was reselling used iPhones, things like that. It was not very repeatable and scalable. It was repeatable, you know, I could keep sourcing more, but it wasn't scalable in terms of every single product I sold, I had to source. Whereas with the Amazon FBA private label model that I eventually shifted towards, then I'm sourcing the same product over and over again, you know, thousands and thousands of the same product, and selling it kind of on autopilot to some extent once you get things up and running, because Amazon is doing the shipping for you. You're focusing on the marketing and the selling of the products, but you're not having to deal in those day-to-day logistics. So that was what appealed to me so much about this model, and why I wanted to just get out of the day-to-day grind of meeting people on Craigslist and selling iPhones on eBay and just that endless cycle. So I started playing around on Amazon probably late 2015, and this wasn't even what I would consider my first real product launches, but I was just kind of learning the ropes, you know, learning how it works with the barcodes, learning how to send in shipments to Amazon, learning how the platform works, which is honestly something I would suggest more and more to people. On one hand, you might want to go all in and just absolutely go in on this first product, but on the other hand, you know, learning the ropes has a lot of value. Break even, get some things selling, sell some things, just whatever you can find, just to kind of like learn that, because I find that those little obstacles hold a lot of people back from ever even starting, because those things confuse people. So that's something I kind of did by mistake, but it proved to be really valuable, because then for my first real product launch, I already kind of knew like the ropes of these pretty basic things, and that definitely helped. So fast forwarding to my first real product launch, relatively quickly, I was doing $300 a days, even up to $1,000 days on this single product, but it was really a roller coaster. I mean, there were days where I thought I'm gonna be so ridiculously rich, and then there were days where I was like, oh my God, this is going to explode. This is not working. What did I do? I spent more on ads than I sold. This is not working. So it was really a roller coaster, which kind of was a necessary step for me, because it led me to the method of creating a product portfolio, which if you watch my channel, you'll see this is something I talk about all the time, which is not relying on one product, building out product lines, building out brands, at the very least, not just relying on one product, because one product is a vulnerability. It is definitely not a business. Even a couple products, you really want to build out and create your empire as much as possible. And I learned that firsthand, because when I had that single product, I couldn't sleep at night. It wasn't good, despite that I've started to get some pretty decent numbers relatively quickly within the first few months of selling. I will note things were a bit different back then. It was a little bit easier to just slap something up and you're off to the races. That's not quite the case now. There's still a lot of opportunity on Amazon, but it does require having a stronger product offering that really, breaks into the space that you're trying to compete with, and marketing it better. You can't just throw it up and expect things to go right. There is more you have to do, but there's still a lot of opportunity for the people that do those things. So the thing that single-handedly blew up my business to the next level by far was just repeating the process and launching more and more and more products, not relying on the single one. Copying myself, launching more of the same thing, launching related things, launching accessories, launching other things that people would use with this product. Going from 1 product to 3 products, to 5 products, to 10 products, to 15 products. And by the time I had that many products, things were just happening. My best seller might go out of stock and you wouldn't notice as much if you have all these other ones holding the weight. Some wouldn't do so well, and that's fine. That's kind of the beauty of having more products, is that you don't need to be so married to any of them. Some of them can fail. A few of them will do much better than you expect. A handful of them will do okay. They'll be profitable. They'll be rolling along. A few of them won't go so well. But by the time you have more and more products, you're going to be in such a better place. You're going to feel so much better. You're going to have diversified, not quite diversified, but diversified within Amazon at least. You're not relying on a single source, and it's just a better business. That's really where you're starting to create something that is defensible, is protectable, is scalable, is when you go from 1 product to 3 to 5 to 10 to 15. And I definitely just want to note is that this is what worked for me. I know people personally that took the complete opposite approach. I know people that have honed in on single products and got single products up to crazy numbers. It is possible. It is a method. But this was the method that I took, and it always felt pretty safe because I didn't have to put everything into a single one and have all of my reliance on that. And I could afford to lose in some situations because it didn't quite matter if I had others. Now, just because it worked for me doesn't mean there aren't downsides to my model of having a product portfolio versus going deep on one product at a time. The downside is cash flow probably even becomes a little bit worse. I've talked a lot about cash flow in other videos. It's something you definitely need to be aware of. It's probably the most difficult thing when it really comes to scaling a physical products business is money in, money out. You're going to be making some profit, but you're buying more inventory, you're buying more products. And by having it spread so much wider, you're tying up a lot of capital in new places constantly, rather than just looking at I have my one product, it sold this much, I'm going to get this much more inventory. It's a lot cleaner and easier. It does get more messy when you have more products. So in the time period when I went from one product to eventually hitting my first $1 million in sales on Amazon, by the way, that is sales. I've definitely broken down sales versus profit. You have to understand that. But the main thing that got me there was more and more products. I was, of course, doing other things. I'm always running pay-per-click, Amazon's sponsored ads. That is basically your way of advertising within Amazon. I'm always having a strong strategy there. I was definitely doing things on social media for these brands, even back then, even at that time. But I can honestly say that the biggest driver of going from essentially zero to $1 million in sales is finding something that works a bit. It doesn't need to be a home run, and repeat it and just build that out and do the same thing. It seems kind of obvious. I agree. I think it really is. But I think a lot of people don't take this route. A lot of people, they take their one product and they eventually get to $500 a day in sales, which is good. But then they're like, how do I get to 600? And they're just endlessly stuck. And meanwhile, I would just be like, well, maybe you'll launch another product, and rather than taking you from 500 to 600, maybe that's another 500, right? And then you just keep building from there. So I would definitely say for me, that has been more of my strategy, rather than squeezing every last bit out of every single product. That could be a downside. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying this is the only way, but that is the strategy. That is sort of the path that worked for me, and will definitely work for some of you. And I'm sure some people will do the opposite of me and hopefully succeed also, and that's great. So definitely a little bit more of a simple, to the point video for me, but that is kind of the beauty of this, is it was that simple. That was the thing. That was the one thing that took me from launching that first product to $1 million in sales on Amazon. So I think there's value in that simplicity. So I hope some of that comes through for you guys. I would love to know from you, what videos do you want to see from me? Please let me know in the description, in the comments. There's a Facebook group in the description. You could let me know there too, or just join and ask questions, get value, help other people, get help yourself. That'd be awesome. But let me know, like, what do you want to see from me? I still struggle a lot to know like what I should make next, and I always have this long list and I feel like they're not good enough to make, and then I don't know. But let me know what you really want to see from me. I will definitely be listening. I'm always listening to all the comments and responding to 99.9% of the comments. So please do leave comments, ask questions, all of that. Smash the like button, feed the algorithm. Please, let's get this channel somewhere. I don't know. We're still figuring it out, but thanks for watching. See ya.